Can you guys?
Hey, welcome everybody to Four Corners Legacy Podcast. I'm your host, Miss Mai Mai.
And I'm your host, Valley Uno.
I'm your host, Diesel Locomotive.
And I'm also your host, Tusav, the beautiful savage.
Hey, beautiful savage.
What's going on, everybody? Go ahead and start this off right with a big old happy
Father's Day to
Happy
all
Father's
the
Day.
fathers
Yeah,
today.
and we know that goes to all the fathers. I know there's like a common narrative to say, "Oh, we only talking to the fathers." Man, to hell with all that. If you didn't given your DNA to bring offspring into this world, I'm talking to you. Even if it takes you a little longer to get your head out your ass and actually play the role, it's still Happy Father's Day, you know. So
Happy Father's Day. Yeah. You guys are important. So don't let this world or these stigmas make you believe that your role is not important. And like Valley said, whether you're getting off to a late start or whether you just haven't been as good as you can, just keep doing it. Sometimes presents are more than presents. So just be present in your child's life. That's the most important gift you can.
without a doubt.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah. So
It's hot out here.
is it?
Yes.
It was warm. It's warm here too. It's not hot, but it's warm. Yeah.
Yeah, we catching a break out here. It don't really seem like June in Sacramento.
Well, it's 87 here, and when it's 87, it's humid too.
It feels like 95.
Right.
Yeah, y'all
It's
got
only
that
78
humidity.
here, but the humidity is higher.
Yeah, I don't miss that shit at all.
So how's everybody doing? Okay, so I have to talk about the fact that these last 5 days have just been great. Really, the last week, two of my granddaughters, one got promoted from eighth grade and she's going into high school. And then my other granddaughter graduated from high school. So we've had a lot of family here. It's just been a real good time. I can't lie, I'm a little feeling some type of way because now it's all back to business tomorrow. But we really had a good time. I feel so blessed, man. I can't even tell you.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm mad that I lost at Top Golf, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's all right because win, lose, or draw. Top golf is fun as hell. You know,
It is.
You
It was
gotta be good at that shit to have fun. You know,
I was trying to conquer it.
We played a game called Hood Charades, and it was so fun. It was a good time. We have to do that when we all get together next time. Y'all will love it. It was fun. Just trying to watch everybody describe, and it's like basically you're describing movies from the hood, and so it's kind of easier than just a normal charades because it's stuff that we know. But we had a good time doing it. Everybody came down. We had people from Georgia, California, South Carolina. I'm so just appreciative that everybody stepped up and came on in. It was real good. Real good.
No, when I had fell asleep when we was playing the charades, and then y'all put is that Sexy Red wake your game up? I woke up, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm up.
I'm not a Sexy Red fan, so
yeah, me either.
It's impossible to be.
Yeah. Not so sexy red.
I don't listen to it myself particularly either, but that woke me up out of my sleep.
Sexy red.
Right. Well, I mean, if you take one look, I mean, but everybody has a different opinion of what is sexy. You know what I mean? Because I know I'm sexy, and to somebody I might not be, but to some I am. So I guess to somebody she's sexy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can take that. Yeah. So, what about Donald Trump? And I know it's not exactly brand new, but what about Donald Trump and the conviction, and this motherfucker still running for president?
Well, I just think that
Think about like OJ and other people that have actually been exonerated of their crimes and still get called guilty.
right. I
Man,
just think that if you're
oh,
a convicted felon, you can't get a job at certain places, yet you can be a convicted felon and still run for president. I mean, where make that make sense. Make it
that
make
was my
sense.
exact take on it.
You can't go get a normal job
You
just to
can't go get a
support
job
your
at
family,
Starbucks,
but you can
you're a
run the
convicted
whole
felon,
country.
but you can run for
Yeah.
president.
Yeah, that was my whole take on it. Like,
Yeah,
if an ordinary Mo get convicted of felonies, then getting certain type of jobs is completely out of the question. But this motherfucker can get convicted of felonies and still run for, you know,
what is it, 54 or
pristine
34
position.
felonies? I mean, it's
34.
not just
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not
34.
just one.
34, you know.
Yeah,
And,
that's
but he
ridiculous.
can still go get the most highly esteemed job in the country.
And then he
That
walks
shit
out and
is
he's like,
crazy.
oh, this is just a preposterous. And it's like, really, you clown? And
Yeah.
you know what's kind of crazy is that I am seeing more and more African Americans, Blacks, Hispanics, minorities that are in support of Trump. It's crazy to me. Their beliefs behind it. I don't know if it's purely financial or what, but I just he's got a fan base and a following.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think part of that is people are like, oh, well, they're looking at the what do you call that? Republican and Democrat side. Uh it's a part of history that blacks in this country um in times past. So like when you talk about Black Wall Street or any of the prominent black communities that existed in history, black folks was Republican back then. You know,
Well, I think that's what Amber Rose was trying to say in some of her posts. She had made some posts in regards to that we've been tricked into believing that blacks are supposed to be Democrats. And, yeah, that's what hurts me. But the party's goals obviously switch along the line. The mission it doesn't align with us.
I disagree with that.
I'm not.
I think it's him.
The Democratic Party does either. I'm just saying that I'm not a Republican. I can say that I'm not.
I'm not neither. But I'm saying, like, if you look at it, the Democratic Party does not align with black folks. It's no different than a lot of the other shit that we cling to because it's what has been ingrained in us. But it does not align with the progression of black folks. It aligns with take these kibbles and bits out of my hand and then come back for your next next time we're gonna divvy something out to you. Come back for your next rations, next election. They don't give a damn about no black folks.
I mean, we could really say that across the board. If we, like you said, maybe neither party aligns with us at this point, and we need to find a new way.
Well, that's the point. The point is we're not stuck with Republican and Democrat. At any given time, a new party can be developed.
But it's not going to happen, though. And
No.
That's a part of the whole the two parties existing, because a party can be formed at any given time. But in order to prevent that from happening, the narrative in the media is we're going to have all this negative attention on the Democrats and all this negative attention on the Republicans. So you have people going, oh, the right wings and the liberals, and shut your dumb ass up. They're the same people. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, they're the same people. It's just ideas are being presented.
It never matters who's in the White House. It's always the same shit.
Yeah.
Doesn't even matter.
Yeah, but Chucky, he's just more racist.
Who?
Chucky.
Oh.
Trump.
Yeah.
I
So since we're doing
I can't even say that because they were all basically white men in the White House, so they probably all was racist as fuck.
He's more outwardly racist is what she's talking about, and people try to deny that, but I mean, it's clear as day to me. I know a redneck motherfucker when I see one.
Me too. And there's they come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. You know, it ain't just the hillbillies. It ain't just the hillbillies anymore. You know, and it's
Oh
not
yeah.
as disguised as it used to be. I wanted to make mention, since we are kind of talking about politics somewhat, that the House of Representatives passed a measure on Friday to automatically register men 18 to 26 for selective service. It was part of an annual National Defense Authorization Act, which sets out the U.S. government, military, and national security priorities over the next fiscal year. So basically,
that means some shit's about to jump off.
well, I mean, and this is my thing. So now they're saying, before it was optional. You know what I mean? If you wanted to do selective service in case they needed you, you could be on standby. It was optional, but now the House of Representatives actually passed a measure to make it to where registering men, and then you don't have to do the registration. They're registering anybody in that age category. And so that's just, to me, that's a crock of bullshit, and it's unfair. I don't like it, because why? I have a 19-year-old son, and the thought of him I'm not one that wants somebody to go into the military, because I do believe a lot of stuff is going on. When I seen that ship roll up to Cuba and that submarine, I said, oh yeah, it's about to get funky, you know? So it's kind of funny that after that happened, they decided to pass this measure. I feel like it's all connected.
And it might be, you know, just keeping it 100, that might be the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they should send all the gang members that want to shoot up Chicago and all these cities. As soon as they get a shooting, they should just send their ass over there.
Well, yeah, you want to be a gang, you want to shoot guns, go shoot guns in the military.
Hammered in a goddamn gun, go pour into a real war, nigga.
Well, that would be good.
Niggas and shooting them in the back, nigga.
Well, I mean, definitely some of those gang members are going to fall in line with the 18 to 26. They picked the right age category.
Well, no, they won't, though, because
they don't send felons.
Yeah, criminal history is going to prevent that, and that's
so now you're telling me that my son, who's doing the right thing, is more likely to go into it than somebody out there doing the wrong thing. And again, here we go with this. Now they're a felon, but they can't do this, but he's a felon and he can do that. I mean, come on, make it make sense.
Well, that's the thing about I don't know. I just feel like when it's shit that goes on that people do that a part of our society is that there's some form of conditional acceptance. And what I mean by that is shit that people call bad or wrong or unacceptable. It will be accepted by the masses depending on the conditions. You know what I mean? And you could think of any particular topic out of the sky and you'll see that. Like, for instance, oh, you got to be 21 years old to buy a bottle of alcohol, but you only got to be 18 to take this gun and go across the planet and kill people for us. On that condition, we'll accept your adulthood at 18.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, and like I said, you can think of there's countless topics you can pull out of the sky, and based on the condition, what's unacceptable here will be acceptable here, depending on what the conditions are.
Yeah.
Just like we said about Trump. Under those conditions, hey, you can still go get the job you want.
Agreed. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I just thought that was, you know, I remember we had discussed previously on the show about how Muhammad Ali refused to have them force him to be in the military. And so I wonder what will be the results. Will there be people who actually refuse to step up, and how that'll work out?
I think there will be. I think there will be, because we live in a different kind of country now. Motherfuckers ain't just like, oh shit, I'm gonna get in trouble, because we already in trouble.
Yeah,
we already in trouble. You know,
we are in trouble.
Yeah,
troublesome.
Does anybody else have anything any other topics that caught their eye? Anything newsworthy?
I may have, but I forgot it.
Wow. Well, another story that was something that I had caught wind of was the Oklahoma Supreme Court rejects reparations lawsuit by the last Tulsa race massacre survivors. So there's only two survivors left. Believe it or not, their ages had me shocked. One is 102 years old.
Mm-hmm.
There's only two of them, the two of the surviving people left, and they decided, well, no, we're not giving you reparations, which is no real surprise to me. I'm more surprised that they're still alive and that they're fighting for it. But yeah, that was something else that I had seen in the news to say that
They're never
they
going to give.
filed. Huh?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
They're never going to give Black people anything. Never. Never.
No, we won't get those reparations.
Right.
They can cancel that shit. That's out the question. They are not giving them shit.
Well, I know me and Valley were talking about
The
it.
only way they'll give us the reparations is if they could find some way to do it like how they did the stimulus. Basically, they give people the money and then people go spend it basically immediately.
Back into the it goes back into the
economy. That's the only.
Our reparations to them is that we're free and we're able to make money. We're allowed. They allow us to be the porch monkeys and all that kind of stuff. That's what they feel. You know, that's our reparations.
I got a different viewpoint on it, and I said something to Maya about it last night, and it's probably gonna piss some people off, but I think the reason why they're so staunch about not giving the reparations is because technically it's already been paid, and it comes down to the ideology that quote unquote blacks in this country are here purely and solely as a result of the slave trade.
What do you mean it's already been paid?
I'm about to get there. So it comes down to the ideology that black folks in this country are here solely as a result of the slave trade. It's never acknowledged, although it's written throughout history, and even in the diaries of Columbus when he arrived in the Americas, that we fit the description of the people that he encountered when he got here. So when they paid reparations to the Native Americans, we were supposed to be included in that because we were included in what people refer to as the natives. And so when you think about the fact that there was upwards of 1,000 different tribes here just on North America, we're not even talking about South and Central America, but just in North America, there's over 1,000 tribes here, and the government deems 5 of them as civilized. In my opinion, there was probably some selling out that took place there.
I don't understand what's wrong with iPhone and why.
That's the $5 Indian came into play, and that's
right. And so when those reparations were paid out to those tribes, in reality, we were a part of that. And there's a
they could view it that way. I mean, that's a good angle that I would have never thought of.
And that's why those reservations are not cared for, and it's because they figure, well, we already gave them some money. They should have did what they're supposed to do, and you can't. The hell with them.
Well, no, they're not.
Yeah, well, that still doesn't trickle to us, though. That it still never made it to us, is what I view
exactly. It. Yeah.
It never will either.
Well, I mean, it depends on how it's presented, and I think that's why Newsom presented it here in California the way he did, under the pretense of it being not necessarily about slavery, but the disenfranchisement of black people in this country. We went through all the you can't vote shit, the civil rights shit, the redlining, the mass incarceration. That ain't got nothing to do with native shit. This is just what the country has did all after slavery was abolished. You know what I mean? So I think it's harder to argue that when it's presented that way.
But see, they'll never understand how it feels to not be able to pull your lineage up past 18, whatever it is, and not find out who you come from. You know,
We don't. That's assuming we wasn't native to this land.
Mm-hmm.
that we still don't know our background though. We going by what everything that they tell us.
Really checking with African though, with African. If
Say
you was
it
to,
again.
if you was to look at it that way, okay, so it's either we're indigenous to this land or we came from Africa as slaves. So how many black folks really give a damn about Africa? We give a fuck about rims and necklaces and we don't give a fuck about none of that stuff. You know, like how ancient in Japanese movies they show the old cup of tea and they doing all this, sacred shit that their ancestors did and shit. We ain't got one black movie with no shit like that happening.
True that.
We don't honor our past.
But some of us don't know it to honor it. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing that, like you said, has been passed down. Nothing that is something that is a tradition, should I say, that traditionally based in our culture, because the Africans don't connect to African Americans in that way, and
but that's our fault, though. That's our fault because we calling them African booty scratchers, and we tripping with them so hard. I mean, that's not on us.
That's not the reason why though. It's because they think they better than us because they have culture and lineage and understanding and we don't. They literally just look down upon us.
Right. And I think it's unfair because there's a lot of every other culture has a language. There's a group of us who we don't have another language. Yeah, the Nigerians, Africans, anyone of African descent that comes here, wherever they're from, they have a native tongue. We don't have that. English is our native tongue. And so I just feel sometimes that we've been robbed in that aspect of it because I wish I could speak another language. I wish I understood and had something else I could go to where I could sit in front of somebody and be talking about them right in their face. When the Africans are doing my hair, they talking and I'm like, I don't have a clue of what they're saying. When I'm at work and the Hispanic women are talking there, I don't understand what they're saying. I'm saying other than English, we as African Americans, we don't have English is our native tongue.
Yeah. I feel you on that. And I think that's somewhat of a big deal to not be able to ever have conversation in a tongue that's clearly related to us.
It's hard.
Like you hear the terminology, or you might have heard it anyway, where people talk about for folks that are bilingual or multilingual, what's the language of your heart? And what I mean by that is, what language do you revert to when you're angry or when you're frustrated, sad? Like when you're in an emotional state, what language do you speak? You speak the one that's closest to your heart, the language that's native to you, because you can best express your feelings in that language. We don't have that.
Oh, so I do have one. It's called foul language.
Oh shit. Yeah.
That kind of leads us to also coming up, Juneteenth is right around the corner, and it is now considered a holiday in some states. In some jobs do actually have that off, but I think that
we had it on my last job.
I think it started 2 years ago, maybe. I'm not sure, but
I've never heard of him. I don't be having that kind of luck at the places I work, damn it.
Definitely not in my line of business. It's 24/7. 24/7. Happy Father's Day, Woon.
Okay, there you go. Because I seen him that he commented, but then I couldn't see it. Okay. What's up with you, bro? Thanks for tapping in. Happy Father's Day to you.
Yeah, I just think also some people are not even aware of what Juneteenth is about, and I think coming up, it wasn't something we lived in a predominantly white area, so it was never something there wasn't a Juneteenth festival in our neighborhood park.
No.
So Yeah,
And they had them sporadically throughout the city after a certain time frame. But like you said, as kids, I wasn't seeing that shit. You know,
no,
later in life, teenage years, but in our younger formative years, none of that.
No,
none.
we were young. Me and my had went to UC Davis. They had a celebration. It was cracking. Oh my God, it was cracking.
It was
I thought
definitely
that was
cracking.
Black
But
Family Day.
but we
Something
were
like that anymore.
we were like 18 and 19 when we went to that.
But I
And
thought that was just Black Family Day. I didn't know that was for Juneteenth.
that was Black Family Day.
Yeah.
And I think that was Black Family. I know exactly what you're talking about.
But it was for Juneteenth though, because I was still pregnant with Kaisha.
Was that the same time where the shit cracked off that y'all talking about? Because I know we was there too, but we was with Mama, not nowhere near y'all. But she took me and D's out there, and we wound up having to get moving because it was like,
well,
it was
you already
crowds of
know
people.
anything in
how I go.
Sacramento.
It was crowds of people that just started running. What's up with Bo Biz? I see you. Appreciate you tapping in.
So
Bow.
I'm gonna be an aggravating bastard right now. I seen a post on Instagram where somebody tried to say we think we're the Bay Area in Sac.
The Bay Area. Hold on, I got this one. The Bay Area flooded Sacramento. We didn't flood the Bay Area, so they came to us. So
Right.
I mean, we
They
don't
talking
need to
about
be
the younger
like them.
generation and them younger niggas. It's true of them.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
don't think
when
we're
they dress, their slang, that everybody want to be a pimp. It's true of them younger niggas.
Yeah, they jump bandwagon with whatever the fad is.
Yeah, that don't apply to us. We sack to the heart. We ain't in the Bay. We in the
Sacramento,
Valley.
nigga, we don't want to be the
It's
Bay. We don't
love for the
We
Bay.
don't want to
We
be
are
the
our
Bay.
own section, and we take pride in it. I can't speak for no younger niggas.
And as far as Bay Area niggas go, if Sac was to disappear, none of you niggas even have a music career.
Well, I mean, I think I'm NorCal, so
that's the biggest. Because that's the biggest city.
I don't want the division part of it because it's all important. There's important factors that did come from the Bay Area, and it's beautiful to be near the ocean and the water and all of that. But really, I didn't lose nothing there. I didn't hang out in the Bay often.
But you gotta really think about that. Because and what I mean, that's why I said it's only a certain generation, and that's why they just supposed to get completely ignored, because you don't hear Too Short, Forte, The Click, RBL, any of them niggas that's from the class that we know. You don't hear them talking like that. That's these little young ass niggas, and they need to go sit in the corner somewhere.
They need to get out their diaper and learn some shit.
And that's why I said it's love for the Bay, just not for no nigga who's on some weird ass shit like that. Because the way I look at it is, there's real niggas from everywhere, just like there's bitch ass niggas from everywhere. The real niggas that's from the Bay, it's love. But them niggas that's on that weird shit, I can't rock with you,
Yeah. I agree with that statement.
There's plenty of niggas that thought that's from the Bay that thought Sac is soft and coffins rolled out.
Oh, Lord. Well,
I'm sorry. Goddamn,
They just want to jump the bandwagon because they do, they're just always so flashy about everything. And that's just how the Bay Area is.
It goes back to what I just said, though. Like, you there's nothing. I don't know. I just think that's crazy, man. Because, like I said, if you a real one from your section, you would have been exposed to certain elements of the game that you would know that there's real motherfuckers everywhere, and you would never fix your lips to even make that sort of a statement. And to me, that's why I said it ain't even worthy of no airplay, because real niggas don't talk like that.
Right.
Them is bitch ass niggas talking like that.
Just like a real gangster ain't rolling around acting like he's a real gangster. He's a clean cut mobster. He's
moving in silence.
Yes, in silence.
That's what got King Von killed in Atlanta.
Like Bruce Lee said, I move like water.
There's nowhere in Chicago, and went out there trying to bully niggas in Atlanta and got shot because he thought only Chicago had hard niggas.
Yeah, no, Atlanta is crazy. Atlanta's crazy. And
heart is where your heart is. If your heart is in your heart, and you can't
just like
because you live in a city, don't make you
there's
hard.
It's all over. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you are or where you're from. It ain't in you, it's on you. I mean, it's not on you, it's in you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we didn't skewed off topic. My bad.
Like I said, my new name is Tusav, the beautiful savage beast. Because
I love it because it explains the whole root of the name Tusav, you know.
Because they might not have known where Tusav came from, and it really was savage beast.
Tusav, for a little backstory, Tusav was so territorial over her younger siblings that she would beat people.
Become a savage beast
if they messed around with her siblings.
Don't get your ass.
Hey, I have to say this though. I seen this. I was watching. I know you guys don't like the ratchet stuff, but I was watching Baddies Caribbean, and the girl, she came up to her and she did the kick that Kasavi had did on somebody. I seen Kasavi do on somebody, kicked her right in her stomach. The girl lost wind, and then she went out and said, "Oh, I seen that in real life before." Kasavi kicked the girl in her stomach. We ain't gonna say no names. A little bit lower than the stomach. We ain't gonna say no names, but there was a whole circle of people around the neck. I said, "Whoa, where she learned that?"
I kicked her a little bit lower than her stomach, and then
grabbed her face and said, "I'm gonna make you look like the fucker on Poltergeist."
That shit was wild.
It was
crazy. Crazy.
I'm not like that anymore, though.
Well, I mean, the beautiful savage beast. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's beauty in all of that. There's a beauty in protecting your family. There's a beauty in standing up for yourself. So
mess with me.
Oh, shit.
Don't let this food taste for you, buddy.
Going to the topic of the show, it's just something that's been on my mind. Maybe it's just the way I look at things because of my background and the stuff that I've been through in life. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like, you know, in the United States of America, Black men in particular have grown overly comfortable with putting their lives on the line over trivial things. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, we know that we were let out of slavery, about 50 years ago or something like that?
No, 1865, wasn't it? That's what the whole Juneteenth is about.
They were still hanging niggas 50 years ago.
Though. Well, yeah, but we talking about slavery in itself, but the
slavery in itself
carried on for many, many, many moons after that. But the actual abolishment of slavery was in the 1800s.
Okay, so they abolished slavery in the 1800s. Then you actually had a smart wave of Black people who said, you know what? We agree with segregation. We're going to have ours. Y'all going to have yours. We're going to do this, and we're going to build our community this way. Y'all build y'all communities that way. We stay across from y'all tracks. Y'all stay across from our tracks. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, we going to have a means of production as far as like having our own doctors. We don't got to go over here to go to the doctors. We can go to the doctors here. We can go to the dentist over here. We can get our bread from over here. We can get our steel and metal works from over here or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Having a means to barter and trade and stuff like that. And our ancestors, they understood that. You know what I'm saying? But nowadays, it's like we can't necessarily, I mean, we could sell entertainment and sell our athletic prowess and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying, like brothers are doing now to get money, you know what I'm saying? But that doesn't apply to the masses of Blacks, you know what I'm saying? And so
it doesn't hit on a community level. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Because those dudes don't give back. Let's face it. They don't give anything.
And some do, and we might not never hear about it. But
them niggas
just
be giving enough to get a tax write-off. Right now. They give enough to get a tax write-off. That's it.
Yeah, I'm
not convinced.
They're not giving shit back. You know what I'm saying?
So the topic today basically is saying that even though we were freed from slavery, we are still living enslaved as a people.
Right.
We have
the topic. The topic
there's a slave mentality that's going on.
And, you know, we're never going to get past that because The like
Don't
these
say
said,
never. You can't
that
say never.
it's the truth though, because the only thing they care about is how they look to the next person, not what you're gaining in your bank account or what property you own or what knowledge that you can bring to somebody else. It's all about the flashy.
I
So
don't
did
look at it
anybody
like
look
that.
up? So did anybody look up how many African Americans are incarcerated in the United States?
No, that question was asked earlier,
I
but
can
no.
look at it right now. Give me a second.
But the reason why I don't look at the never is because you know it goes back to what I said before. Sometimes you got to plant seeds. Uh, you know, you're watering the trees of which that you will never be able to benefit from the shade of. And what I mean by that, okay, so for me, it's 4 plus 2. You know what I mean? Uh, Sav, for you, it's 3. Okay, Maisha, for you, it's 4 plus what is it? 3. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking about offspring. So just with us four and our offspring, look at the numbers. So instead of looking out all out in the community and be like, oh, what's not going on there? Let's make sure it's happening here because our offspring, you know, like I said, I got 4 kids, 2 grandkids. That number is going to continue to multiply, and if I and us and our whole little circle can continue to ingrain the positive mentality that we're speaking of into our offspring, then that's how change takes place. It's not with the snap of a finger. That's why I won't say never. I might
Right.
never see it,
Right.
but I'm not going to
We
say never.
exactly. And we got to be open-minded. And we talk about this all the time on the show, how the importance of training them up and what we're doing in our family. Start with our family, our family tree. That's where we have to start. The change starts with us and how we raise our children, and then it's going to trickle down. You know, we can't save the whole world, but at least we can start within our 4 walls,
It's
within
not.
our family, within our
I
DNA.
get
But
what you're saying, right? But it has to be popularized. We have to start popularizing the right shit as a people. You know what I'm
right,
saying? It can't just be all about like if you go on Tubi or black owned networks or anything like that, and you look at the titles of the movies, it's too much. Just the titles alone is aggravating.
well, and some of the music is aggravating too.
The
But to
section of
piggyback,
unworthy,
on your
all
original
this whole
question,
negative shit. You know what I'm saying?
it is a
So
lot of
real
negative
quick,
stuff.
just for the purpose of clarity to our audience, we gotta make sure that we're giving each individual an opportunity to finish their thought before we speak because we don't want to lose any clarity. That's it. Carry on.
Black Americans are incarcerated at a higher rate than white Americans. As of June 2024, 38% of inmates in the BOP are Black.
Which is
The,
crazy. Because so how many? This is what you want to figure out next.
What's a
How many?
BOP? I'm sorry.
something prisons. I don't know. It just says BOP. I'm reading this off of
Okay.
Google. I got it off of Google. But it's saying like basically 228 per 100,000 people are going to prison versus 49 out of 100,000 white people. So
Mm.
we're going in at
40, it's roughly 40 million African Americans, and how many million white Americans is the answer I want to know next.
no, you asked me for the answer of how many
I
were
know, I'm just trying
incarcerated.
to figure out because if we're going at a higher rate, it's not like it's 40 million whites, 40 million blacks, we're at a higher rate. It's way more than us.
Right. So
And we got
listen,
a higher rate of
this
prison
is the thing though.
incarceration.
You got to look at it for what I just gave you though. If 49 out of 100,000 white people are going to prison and 228
I
of
get
out
it.
of
I get
100,
it.
yeah, that's there's the numbers right there.
I know,
We're
but
going
the only reason I said that is because for some reason we downplay that as a people as well. We don't think that like we think we're neck and some people don't realize that we're not neck and neck. And you know, yes, there is a lot of white people in prison. Yes, there is a lot of Hispanics in prison. Uh, but there's not a lot of Samoans. There's not a lot of Asians. There's not a lot of Hindus and Indians and Fijians or whatever else. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, and that's culture there too. You know, there's some of those things are culturally they're not doing, and I can't really say that because I know people from all walks of life. Being from California, I know every nationality: white, black,
Right.
Asian, yeah, all of them, and I knew all of them that did crime. So, but for me, I say it's minorities altogether were going in at a higher percent. But I'm looking at something right now, and this is an old stat, so I know that the numbers have changed. But if there's 6.8 million in the correctional population, 2.3 million are black.
Okay,
Okay.
but this is
Okay.
where
Hold on.
it's
That's why that's important. How many? I'm sorry, Kasabi.
It said African Americans constituted 2.3 million, quote, 34% of the 6.8 million correctional population.
2.3. Okay, so
40 million.
So
Of
let's see
6.8 million.
No, 40 million is how many of us it is.
Oh, okay. I see what
No,
you're
no,
saying.
no, because you said 6.8 million. So
6.8 million in the correctional population. He's saying overall population of the world.
right, it wouldn't be 40. How do you got more than the total?
No.
You're listening. He's saying 40 million
black motherfuckers it is. Not
Okay,
stop.
What's the total incarcerated? 6.8, right?
Yes.
So how the hell do you multiply that to 4D?
No. You're
not listening.
My point. I'm trying to figure out of the 40 million niggas, how much 2.3 is.
What difference does it make? And here's the reason why I'm saying it doesn't matter. Hear me out. Because we don't worry about the percentage. If you got 2.3 million blacks incarcerated as of today, okay, there was 4 million blacks that were quote unquote freed in 1865 when slavery was abolished. So that's the highlight. Fuck the percentage. Numbers wise.
Let me say this.
You basically have more niggas incarcerated that was in slavery.
Or right close to it.
Or right close to it.
And it's sad. It's sad.
No matter how many are incarcerated, what is happening is the post-traumatic slave syndrome that's been impacted on us because it may not even be something that we have went through ourselves, but our parents may have went through it or their parents have went through it. And so then it gets passed down to generation to generation to generation. And when you have, it's like post-traumatic stress. It's a way of thinking, basically.
And I did read something similar to what you're saying.
It's in the epigenetic.
Right.
It's epigenetics. It's passed down on a genetic level in the DNA.
It's a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder. Similar signs of the two include avoiding certain places, people, activities, and events that may remain in the individual of a traumatic experience, difficult concentrating, appearing emotionally numb. Basically, this PTS, post-traumatic stress disorder. But you're going to always have that range of people that are going to be feeling a certain way because of what's been done in the past. And that's just
right. But okay, so, and I get that part, but how we think is a choice. What we believe is an actual choice. So just like we say to people, you can't blame your childhood on who you are today, right? Then that applies. We can't blame slavery on who we are today. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's not the slavery, it's the mistreatment.
Okay, but you're still taking a cop-out way of thinking when you are in control of your fate. You are in control of your destiny.
Because here's an example. Say you got 10 people, and all 10 of those people had an abusive parent, right? Out of those 10 people, 3 became abusive parents themselves, or abused other people, or whatever, adapted that abusive behavior. And then the other 7 were unaffected, basically went on to live productive, fruitful lives. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't matter that what happened because other people are still overcoming it. So if it's overcomable, why are we going to say, oh, because we were slaves, we can't overcome this type of abuse or this type of shock that was done to our people? You get what I'm saying? And
I want to say this too.
We're stronger than that.
First, let me say this. Happy birthday, Tupac. I'm going to quote something that Tupac said. I have to say that because Tupac said, you ain't got to be in jail to be doing time.
Right.
And that was the realest shit, because what he's saying is, people are out here on the streets doing time. They're stuck in bad behaviors. They're not living right. That's a form of incarceration itself. You're living in a cage. You're continuing to do something that's not productive or conducive to a better lifestyle.
Right.
So, I mean, here we have it again. We have a group of people who we have a choice. We have a choice.
And we're setting these ridiculous parameters on ourselves. You have to have Jordans on your feet. You have to have be making $2.2 million a year to be somebody, and all these, we got all these ridiculous parameters on what makes a solid person, you know what I'm saying, or what success is. And so now our kids are growing up and they want a Louis purse and they want Jordans on their feet and they want to have gold teeth and gold chains and all this, kind of like, and if we look at the richest people in our society, they don't never be having none of that.
But if we're going to talk about the whole subject, we have to at least be realistic about it. And so when Sav was talking about the PTSD, okay, that's a diagnosis. It's realistic, but it's no different than a diagnosis for heart disease or if you go to the doctor and they tell you obese. Okay, I'm obese. I gotta eat different. I gotta work out. Or I got high blood pressure. I gotta do this about my sodium intake and all this whole other shit. Okay, we got PTSD epigenetically. What we gonna do about it? Mm-hmm. Self accountability on how to manage your condition falls on you, and the lack of managing the condition is all that shit you was naming. That's just the symptoms. It's not the problem. And that's why we can't escape it, because you can't address the symptoms. You got to address the cause of the symptoms. And we know where it comes from. It's a waste of time to be like, why does everybody want to have this, that, and the other? Because they ain't got no damn self-identity, because that shit was taken from us. And then basically our whole lives, whether it was Roots or Panther or the goddamn the blaxploitation films, all the movies we've seen that are quote unquote black films are associated with traumatic experiences, and all that does is add to that epigenetic damage that gets
justifies it in our mind,
and it makes it to where it's almost guaranteed to continue to get passed down from generation to generation.
I agree with that.
You see what I mean?
Would you guys go out into the community? You know how they go out there, they sling bean pies, they give out their newspaper, and the majority of the people do not listen to a word that they have to say, right? The black people, they're, hey, my sister, we're not listening to them. But would you be willing to go out there and still do it if you knew you were only going to touch one or two people? Because they're still standing out there taking that chance that nobody's going to pay attention to them, but somebody might decide to come on board. And I think that we have to have that same kind of attitude when we go out into our workplaces, when we go out into the world. We should be advocating these kind of things. We should be talking financial literacy. We should be talking to the youth. I mean, we have to be the change that we want to see. It starts with us. We can't just be like, well, they ain't gonna never listen. No, we still got to try. And we can take it outside of our families. We can take it to our schools. I mean, we can start to be the change that we want to see.
I agree with that.
But it comes down to having one thing that we lack as a people, that's one of our biggest downfalls, is we don't believe in leadership. Like how Trump is the leader, he's a leader amongst the white community. How so and so is a leader amongst the Asian community, or you get what I'm saying? Like we're like Who the fuck you think you is? You above us? Like we don't want nobody to be above the lowest motherfucker in our communities.
Too many chiefs and not enough. Too many chiefs and not enough Indians. And that is the thing. But again, we have to start somewhere. We got to begin at some point to see the cup half full and not half empty. If we look at the cup as half empty, we're never going to be able to spark the change. Okay. We have to look at the cup as half full. So we're halfway there. Let me deal with this half that we got and try to add to it. You know what I mean?
Well, the only way that's going to happen is we got to start at preschool.
I mean, I don't care if it's preschool, junior high, high school, whatever school.
Well, it would have been started.
We need to start with community service.
It starts with us.
Community service.
Right.
Exactly.
It starts with us. And what I mean by that is it, and we see it, because this is why people say, oh, ain't nobody gonna listen, because it starts with the individuals that's doing the talking. Does everything about your life and your organization demonstrate that the line that you're trying to push has had impact in your life? That's just like
you
me
have to show some account.
If we live in a world full of soup and I'm out here trying to sell a nigga a fork, you know what I mean? Like it's pointless. I can dress it up and make it look good and shiny and all that, but you can't eat no soup with a fork. You understand what I'm saying? Is it applicable to me overcoming my obstacles? And the only way you can convince somebody of that is if they're able to see that it has had that effect in your life.
Right.
They should be able to see that having their pants sagged to they below their butt cracked is not the way to do it either, though.
And having their ass all the way out ain't damn sure ain't either.
Yes, you can see the shit stain in their drawers. That's how.
I mean, and again, I don't see that as much as I used to.
Young girls out here, that ain't it either.
I try to be, even though I don't agree with that way of dress, I try to be. I don't know how to say it, but I try not to let that bother me, because older people didn't like the fact that we had jerry curls, and before tattoos became what they are now, that everybody has them, older people didn't like the fact that we had tattoos. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like I don't want to be the old arrogant motherfucker that think I got it all figured out. Let me try to understand, even though I completely disagree with that way of dress, I'm not going to do it. But let me try to understand why that's what you want to do. What sort of identity do you feel like it gives you to dress that way? You see what I mean?
That's just like a woman who walks around with nothing on, or she looks cheap because of what she's wearing. If I was a little bit smaller, I probably would be wearing some things that are a little bit, more risque too, but I'm not going to be looking like a cheap slut. And that has to be they need to realize what's that making them look like,
I don't think they give a damn. And if
they certainly don't.
And if they don't,
talk about how you present yourself.
Time out. If they don't give a damn, why should I? That's their problem.
Yeah,
when
they get to the point that it's going to make you uncomfortable, even if they don't give a fuck how they're presenting themselves. But here I am exposed to how they're presenting themselves. Whether I want to give a damn or not, I'm about to be affected by what's going on.
That I don't agree with that. I think
if you're standing in front of me in the line at the liquor store or whatever, and your pants are sagging, I don't want to see it. But again, it's not affecting whether I'm getting my bottle and I'm getting the hell out the store. I mean, it's not going to affect me. You know what I mean? Right. But I don't want to see it.
Whatever discomfort you go through at the time is still going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. You're right about that. But that same discomfort you talk about, it goes back to what we was talking about on the last show. That same discomfort from seeing somebody dressed a certain way is the same sort of discomfort that somebody sees simply by seeing a black person, regardless of dress. I'm not going to emulate that type of fuckery. That's what I'm getting.
And that's why that's why other nationalities make money and monopolize. I mean, they make millions of dollars because we have to look the certain way they look and so everybody buys the same kind of slipper or the same kind of whatever fad that's going around, or
the fact that they're making billions of dollars off of black women buying hair is appalling to me. Like, why black people ain't figured out how to make their own goddamn hair, since it's that fucking important where you spending billions.
Well, the cool part about it is it's, and when I hate to
that
say
money
it,
should definitely be going back to black people
in the southern states, or if you're like a really like a cultural or family oriented type family, that you got people in your family to tell you, don't be putting that shit in your hair. That shit gonna break your hair off, and your hair will grow. Your hair will grow just fine.
Right.
And you'll have some beautiful hair.
We're supposed to believe that every single black woman in the United States has alopecia.
Okay, I don't know where this is going. I don't know where this is going, but
that's why they say they wear the hair, though. They're saying they wear the hair because they all have alopecia. And that's why
there is a whole.
I don't have alopecia.
Y'all are breaking.
I cut my hair off.
Mad again.
Come on, guys. We gotta keep it in order. What were you saying, Mai?
They reuse that hair too.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
She started talking again. God dang. Okay, so what I'm saying is, if you look at it now, there's a whole new generation of women who are dealing with their natural hair. That's why natural hair care lines are flying off the shelf now. They are making all kinds of oils and butters and creams and different things that are selling. So I mean,
I agree with that. As long as they're black-owned products, that's great.
There's a huge number of women who are taking care of their hair, who are growing out their hair. There is still a huge number of women like myself who choose to get braids, to get weave, whatever. So, I mean, I don't feel like that's a big deal, because I still think that now more than back when I was growing up, people are wearing their natural hair.
Mm-hmm. But so it's the only thing that makes it a big deal is that these billions of dollars that are being spent are in vain, basically. You know what I'm saying? The shit we see when we turn on our TVs, and these white people, these are where some of these billionaires are becoming billionaires, because they have certain products that people are buying. Because these people that are billionaires, they're not all tech gurus. Some of these people are selling hair. Some of these billionaires sell Q-tips. Some of these billionaires, you get what I'm saying? So
sell fake purses.
Exactly, sell fake purses. So here it is. You got billions of dollars, multi-billions of dollars being spent on hair, and black people aren't making the goddamn hair. That is a problem. That is
it's not just the hair,
though. I mean, if we look at the examples of black millionaires, billionaires, even if we was making the hair and somebody black was getting the money, I do not see how that addresses any of the shit that we're talking about, as far as the slave mentality and how that mentality has carried on through generations, and it puts us right back into another form of slavery. That ain't got shit to do with nothing. Yeah, it would be nice to see that. But okay. But
we feel like we have to get that shit from them.
Just like in the movie The Django, when they came on to Candyland, and what was Samuel Jackson's name?
Who gives a damn about his name? What's your point? Because I'm starting to get irritated with how many times I got cut off around this motherfucker.
When he seen what?
Shit, you know what I'm saying? What is your point?
Go ahead. You black.
She ain't got it now. She said, "Go ahead." After all that,
let Maisha and Tavon have the floor. I'm gonna be quiet for at least 45 minutes.
You can get offended if you want. I've been more.
Oh wow!
I just want to make sure you're not. I'm not offended. I want to make sure you're not.
Nigga, I've been more offended. Everybody,
you're offended. Now talk.
I ain't got shit to say at this point. I'm gonna wait till y'all get it off.
Black fucker, say what you have to say.
I didn't forgot my
say that shit and then
like
not
I
talk.
said,
That's
every
crazy.
time a nigga start talking, it's like, goddamn.
My shit on mute.
Shit. That shit crazy.
No way, y'all. I mean, I love y'all to pieces, but
Woo, shit.
really, we're having
Y'all
a serious.
need help.
We're having a serious conversation, and we have to stick to the serious conversation. You know, it's important. You know, there's a reason why we're doing this, and we got to stick to the reason why we are on the show. And the show is to try to drive home the points. So if we could get back on topic, that would be great.
That's all I was trying to say. I felt like we were veering away from what we're actually talking about. You know what I mean? Like, it says out of slavery into incarceration. So we haven't even really dove into that part. You know what I mean? We mentioned the numbers and then went somewhere else. And that's all I was trying to say. I just wanted to get us back into the direction that we're supposed to be on. But
right. So let's try to drive home some points, you know, while we're still on air. Let's try to drive home some points in that topic. So we can start with you. What are some of the things that you would like to add to this conversation in that point?
Well, I mean, I just want to get back on the direction of it. That's all I'm saying. You know, I had some thoughts lined up, but I ain't gonna front. I'm a little agitated right now, so you can't put me on the spot like that. That's not gonna work. You know, I'm saying though, like, let's steer it in the direction of what we're talking about. We know it ain't about money and hair and all this other shit. We talking about how people live their lives in a way that they're willingly subjecting themselves to bondage. What can we do to alter that? What can we do to change the mindset? Because we already know what it is. What can we do to alter it in our own homes, in ourselves, or with our own family? That's all I was getting at. You know,
I think you have to be able to be willing to walk alone sometimes, you know, and not be into the trend of things that are going on, and be willing to stand by yourself and make your own decisions, and then find a crowd or a group that aligns with your thoughts. You can't be willing to trail behind the rest of the people, because it's kind of like the blind leading the blind in some scenarios, keeping us caught up in that same way. And I've fell victim to it too. You know, there's certain things that we just become used to doing. You know, why is it that smoking cigarettes, for instance, okay, I know that it's not healthy. I do it. Why do there's a huge number of Blacks who smoke Newports? That's just, we're connected to Newports, right? And we know it's not good for us, but we still do it. So these are some of the things we have to stop aligning ourselves with the stereotypes, like 40 ounces with certain stigmas, and walking into that mentality. We're willingly going into that mentality.
Shit. I don't think it's about willingly going into it. I think we're swimming in it on all levels. You know, it doesn't matter if you're talking about somebody in our age group, below or above, because above us, it was players and pimps. Our age group, it was gangbangers and D-boys. Nowadays, it's
drug addicts.
D-boys have morphed into, you know, they added, you know, drug addiction as another layer to the same street shit. You know what I mean? So the mentality has been ingrained on such a deep level that it's going to take a motherfucker to really see it for what it's worth. Hey, man, living like that is tantamount to eating a shit sandwich. And unless it's disgusting to you on that level, where do you find the desire to make change?
Well, I'm going to say this. Their campaign that they're working on right now is to get rid of the Black man, period. So once the Black man is gotten rid of, then they ain't gonna have to worry about it. No way.
I think the Black man's doing a good enough job of that on his own. Don't even like Kanye said, there's a thing called self-hate. It works on itself. That shit it's a self-operating machine at this point. It don't even need to be nudged.
I'm not talking about the gang violence. I'm talking about the sexuality part of it. And I believe they're doing something before they even come home from the hospital to alter their thinking, my belief. And that's why
I don't think that's I said this before. I don't think that's a racial thing. I think we see what we want to see according to race. We're only affected by the Blacks that or falling into that category because that's what we feel like is connected to us. But I don't think that's a racial thing. I think it's across the lines.
And my take on that is there's no way you can have 80-90% of black children being raised by black women and not a bunch of gay ass little niggas.
Well, they do need a strong male in their life.
I was about to say, I think the lack of a male presence definitely plays a part in that, or could play a part in that.
And see, even when there wasn't a male in the house, they had uncles or the grandfather or something on that level. You know, they coach at their school or whatever.
That's why they say Tupac was gay, because he was raised by a woman and women, and he had feminine mannerisms about himself, which would obviously be natural because you could take a baby right now born in the United States and send him to Japan, and he won't know how to speak a lick of English. He'll sound 100% Japanese when he grows up.
True that.
True or false?
Obviously.
I'm not going to tolerate.
Not going to affect
on Tupac's birthday. We will not be talking about.
How is it not going to affect the male child if he's raised by a woman? But you can send him to Japan and he'll be Japanese.
Well, not all males that are raised by women end up turning out bad or don't have morals.
Exactly, because I think
he said 80 to 90%. That's not all.
That's not all. I already covered that.
Yeah, he said 80 to 90% are being raised by women, and that impacts the numbers. He didn't say all. It ain't no need to address that. That was never even said.
Because it's not, because no matter what they say in America, ain't nobody was born that motherfucking way. If that's the case, you're born Charles Manson. If that's the case, you're born fucking
no, I'm not saying they're born that way. I'm saying they're but that's a different subject.
Because you got to remember, as long as we've been alive, we've seen gay motherfuckers on TV.
Hear me out. So if we can acknowledge epigenetics when it comes to black people, is that the only place where it may have an impact on generations to follow? Or would it also be carried on for people that have been sexually abused? You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's trauma. So if we can acknowledge it on this subject matter, we have to at least acknowledge that that's a possibility on this subject matter as well. So I can't say that it's impossible for somebody to be born with that inclination, because I agree with the epigenetic studies that shit gets carried on genetically.
Well, yeah, just like
I think, yeah, some
well,
stuff
if that's the case, then it would have to be some sort of natural human characteristic.
Turn the light on. Well, just like in the movie, they cloned Tyrone. They do. It's things like that is what's keeping us in slavery.
What do you mean by that?
Like the grape Kool-Aid, how they use the grape Kool-Aid and the malt liquor and
shit like that.
Yeah.
Chicken and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So hell, was it you? I don't know. One of y'all.
When they was eating that chicken, though.
Yeah. But somebody said that shit comes down to a choice at some point. And there's folks that's like, I'm going to eat chitlins. That's their choice. Even though they know
that's ass.
You know, I'm going to eat all this bad shit because it would be too much effort for me to try to find something else that sits better with my health goals. Matter of fact, health goals, what's that? You know
right.
What I mean? Like, so I think when I look at they cloned Tyrone, I think it was highlighting that that mentality that's prevalent across the board. You know, it's another dude in another part of the country living the same reality as, hey, Tyrone, ain't that you? You know what I mean? He got a different name over there, but they live in the same reality. You know what I mean? Like it's been cut out in a cookie cutter fashion, and mass produced and handed to us. And even now that we live in the age of information, when we're fully aware of it, man, it's more comfortable to just keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, but I thought it had some relevance what I was saying. We might have got a slightly off topic about the hair, but you heard about the one lady, she went and was stealing a bunch of purses and didn't take the plea bargain and got 21 years instead of 4 years for stealing purses. And then the brothers up there in the Bay Area that just ransacked the jewelry store, like 50 dudes went in the jewelry store and stole a bunch of jewelry and shit. Like, these type of things are really putting us into bondage. You know what I'm saying? And when it really boils down to it, the things that most black people go to jail for has to do with money.
Mhm.
Right.
Well, crime is a direct result of a lack of resources, whether you want to call it poverty or just living below the means that is necessary for you to survive. The crime is always related to that.
Right. And so I'm glad that somebody brought that up, because I feel like those are the numbers that make sense. That if we're moving in the right direction when we're addressing that, because that is what is leading us back into incarceration. It's leading us into incarceration, which is
saying that money is more important than freedom, basically.
Well, and for some people, it's a hard choice because I'm not saying you have to do a crime, but some people their backs against the wall and they don't see any other way out. Somewhere along the line, yes, there's a possibility to get a job, but if you're just trying to pay this month's rent, you might be feeling like, okay, I gotta go do a stick up or something, you know. So I understand.
Well, I was on the plane the other day, and I was eavesdropping to this man's conversation, and he was saying how he became a real estate developer because, as growing up as a kid, they lived very poor. They didn't have heater. He would sleep with sweats and 4 and 5 different blankets and still be freezing. That he only took a shower maybe twice a week because it was so damn cold to take a shower in the wintertime. Right. That so that's why as he grew older, he wanted to just be able to have a regular household. He said just a 2-bedroom house that had heater and the basic essentials, which made him want to have more and more and more or whatever. But nowadays, if a kid doesn't have something, the first way that they think to get better is not with education or going and working and doing this. It's about in the streets, and that's
what I seen on 50 Cent's Power or what I seen on Snowfall will get me through it.
But see, you're not on TV. You don't have that same chance of becoming that big time motherfucker.
Shows are actual blueprint stuff. Our people are that naive that we think these shows are literal blueprints. You know.
So that's why it's so ignorant. They have all them shows that where we're all representing ignorant ass motherfuckers that get on TV and then they act ignorant. I hate to see that shit. It infuriates the shit out of me. And
especially when 50 Cent didn't get rich selling dope. Puff Daddy, none of these niggas got rich doing the illegal shit. They got rich doing legitimate shit. And that's why it's even more wrong to put that out there in society to further the negativity. Even though you niggas made your fortunes legitimately, you're trying to portray it as if, Big Meech, okay, he did it, do it illegal as fuck. He was the richest nigga, illegal as fuck. But
he's a different breed. He's 30
years though, but the reality of it is he had to do 30-something years because of that. You get what I'm saying? So it wasn't free, and it just
it's not going to be another person that's going to be able to do it like that either.
No, it won't. Those days are going to definitely disappear. The pharmaceutical companies are the biggest dope dealers.
Yes.
And they're doing it legitimately. So if niggas really think they're great at selling dope, become a pharmaceutical company. That's what I mean when I say we be on some crazy shit when it's really a simple way to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Why can't it be a black pharmaceutical company?
Never.
Why can't it be?
I mean, I'm sure it could. I'm sure it could, but
would it be embraced?
You have to start somewhere.
Yeah, Big Pharma is going to knock them out the game.
Would it be? No, I ain't talking about Big Pharma. Would it be embraced?
Big Pharma knock you out the game if you create something and it is your patent, your shit. Big Pharma can suck a dick. It's
what I'm saying is, would it be embraced by black people? Because there are countless black-owned businesses right now, as we exist, that are offering an alternative to pharmaceuticals. And there's some black people that tap in with that, but the average motherfucker ain't paying it no attention. You ain't got to take this medicine if you take this herb. You ain't got to worry about bad gut health if you do this natural cleanse every so often throughout the year.
When they haven't formulated it into a compact form. You get what I'm saying? I got to go out here and buy the sea moss, and then I got to buy this ginger and buy all this, and then I got to figure out how to mix it up correctly to get to the formula that these niggas is talking about. Where's the one-stop shop? Because that's what motherfuckers want in today's society as a whole.
Fuck what they want, because they're willing to go get the chicken, they're willing to go get the mac and cheese and the potatoes separately. But when it comes down to your health, you got to make it easy on me. That's what I meant when I said
that's how you
gotta do what's easier. You're proving my point, though. If there's an alternative to something that we think is not good for us, but because of the lack of comfort that comes with the change, we'll just stick with what we've already been doing.
Right. And again, that's where it goes back to what I initially said: is everybody has a choice. You know what I mean? And what are we really choosing? Are we choosing to continue to be caught up in this same path? Yeah, basically. I mean, that's what it all boils down to. Who's going to be the one to change it? And that's why I encourage us, the four. We got to be the change we want to see. We got to continue to talk about it, because somebody somewhere might see this video and be like, well, they got some good points. We should, you know, and they might start thinking of something different. I'm not saying that we're going to see the changes overnight, but we got to be the voice that sparks that change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it's only one person can tell another person, and they can tell, you know, so put those ideas out there. If you're having a conversation with somebody, share some ideas with them. You know, it doesn't have to be just on this show. We have to do it in our day-to-day lives. We have to put those kind of conversations on the forefront.
Well, that's how in the past, how things were resolved and things got done, is that they congregated and did exactly that, discussed different stuff, and that's how we were able to progress. There's no sitting down and discussing nothing no more. People don't even sit down together for dinner. So, you know.
Well, and I think Dee's had a good point when he initially started the conversation. He was saying that, you know, there were communities that worked together and said, okay, we will have our own doctors, dentists. We'll grow our own food. We'll be able to use this, and we'll barter against, you know, with one another to build our community. And when those communities started to thrive, that's when you had stuff like, you know, Tulsa.
Oh, shit.
What?
The mentality that they had is what we need to start having now, that we can survive, that we can do it, that we can change these things. That's why I said earlier, let's see the cup half full. Let's not think about the ones who are not willing to change and not even open to the suggestion of it. But for the people that are, for the ones that may want to see something different happen, not just in our lifetime, but in our kids' life, our children and grandchildren. Yeah, we got to step up.
Yeah, because it's like, what's the use of having children if you don't want to co-parent them? You know, these are the type of decisions we are faced with as a people. It's like, So we want to keep procreating in the United States, but we gonna raise them in broken homes continuously, even though we see that 78% or 80% of children from a broken home fall into these 12 categories, negative categories. You know what I'm saying? But somehow we think that if we keep doing it, that it's just that we're just going to miraculously beat the odds at some point. And it's been proven over this amount of years that it's only gotten worse. You get what I'm saying?
People who think like that are so self-centered, they're not even thinking along the lines of, oh, this is going to make life better for my child. They're thinking along the lines of, I'm going to show you what happens when you don't do right by me. That type of, and that's kind of what I mean when that type of person you ain't from my fold anyway. You ain't my tribe if your mind operates like that. I don't give a fuck about your skin being black. You are not my kin.
Even people that don't think like that still wind up not being able to father their children, even though if a person's willing to be a father. The way our society is set up, sometimes you can't be.
No, I'm aware of that. You know,
your children still fall into those 12 negative categories, or you know, the effects still happen even though you weren't necessarily a willing participant.
Mm-hmm. So, when we talked about the different thriving communities throughout Blacks in the history of America, and how that's something that we could emulate. That's why I mentioned the different Black businesses that are offering an alternative to pharmaceuticals, not because of the pharmaceuticals, but because of what that company, if it can actually grow, represents. When we say, man, you know, I had a checkered past. I did some crazy shit in my teenage years because I was going along with all this shit that's been handed to me. I'm having a hard time getting a job. There's a Black-owned business that, because that business and the owners of it and the people surrounding it understand your plight, that's an opportunity for you to go get you a job. But you know what I mean? We got to feed into those organizations to help them grow and let it flower out. And it might not directly affect us, but the actual city in which that company is based, there's going to be some youngster who has an opportunity that he wouldn't have had if that company didn't exist.
Right.
There has to be a union of the minds. Like it's everywhere. It's all encompassing. And you know what I mean? Like one small piece adds to the pie.
Mm-hmm.
Just like with my daughter with Pretty Potions. Kaisha was pushing that. How many years ago was that, Mike?
Probably 3 or 4. Yeah, 3.
And no one wanted to, you know, very few people jumped on it. People flying in the doors now trying to get CMOS and all that kind of stuff, you know?
Right. So
well, and
is it affordable to, would it be affordable to purchase from a Black company, not just be purchasing from a Black company simply because they're Black? I mean, it also has to be affordable as well. And we already know, like some of the restaurants they was talking about, I think it was, who was it? Not Bow Wow. It might have been, it's one of them, I think it was Bow Wow. He got to a restaurant and somebody was saying that it was like $7 for a water in there. You know,
well, I don't know about that's something that's being aimed at rich folks, but I know with these different companies that I'm talking about, it's motherfuckers paying more for their collective streaming services than they would pay for some shit that's gonna help them in their health and wellness. So when we talk about affordability, it comes down to what you prioritize, because that's something that another thing that Black folks do. That shit costs too much. Nigga, you got on $230 pair of shoes. Like,
that really are bad for your health anyway. Because
for a year for that.
Yeah, what do you mean? Like it costs too much, or it's just more than you want to spend because you don't see the value of it.
Right.
And actually, a sneaker is bad for your health anyway, because the rubber on the sole of your foot It's blocking the energy that comes from the earth, that comes through your feet, and through. That's where you get your energy from the earth, which helps to keep you healthy and whole.
Yeah,
Once
but you
you,
can still wear shoes. You just have to use time throughout the day to do grounding in the grass. I ain't gonna say
yeah,
that because I'm
yeah.
gonna put some shoes on my feet, you know.
Right.
You better.
I'm just saying,
You better.
the shoes that they're spinning,
I'm the type
because
of
they don't never ground
I
themselves.
step on a goddamn pebble, I might be in ICU.
They don't ground themselves. You're right, but how do they know about this shit?
Right.
Mhm.
And that's
Just like
why
your little
when we talk,
brother, he walked around with no shoes on his whole life, damn near, and
yeah.
that boy was never sick.
So when you look at this, why I always, when people be like, social media is fucked up. No, your social media is fucked up. We live in an age of information, and there are countless pages that are dedicated to informing people about some of the shit that I was just talking about. You know
But you
what I
still
mean?
have
Like,
to weed through that as well, though.
well, of course, but the whole point I'm making is it comes down to what you choose to follow, what you choose to feed your mind. Are we making a selective, are we being selective about what we feed our minds? You know what I mean? Because there's certain shit that just shouldn't even have a space at all. And then there's other shit that we should be trying to figure out how to make space for it. That's a part of
I
the
think
game.
we have to make space for, yeah, I think we should be figuring out how to make space for stuff. There's always going to be some stuff that it's going to take time. There's nothing that's going to happen overnight. Nobody's perfect, but every individual should have a desire inside themselves to grow, to
Mm-hmm.
learn, to adjust, to recalibrate and come back, because you know you might be set in your ways. We understand that. We understand that these things are going to take time, and that things that are new always bring a little bit of fear. It's like, people are afraid of change. They fear the unknown. But
Right.
you got to give yourself a little bit of a chance. Challenge yourself to read and to learn about the topics that you want, not the stuff that we're talking about, but whatever intrigues you to be a better person, to be
Mm-hmm.
more productive.
And it's like, I don't know which one of y'all had said it earlier, but I feel like it's a lack of disgust in our people. Like you have to be disgusted at some of these things that's going on in our communities as a whole. And I feel like we lack that as people. It's like we make excuses for shit too much. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And we be acting like certain shit's okay. And man, look, yes, you can sell dope and get ahead in life. But technically, you're just selling dope to your own folks because you're not going to motherfucking Beverly Hills. There ain't no nigga in South Central making all his money in Beverly Hills off of dope or in
Right.
Brentwood or some damn where. He's selling it right there in his fucking community. You get what I'm saying? And
And
so,
not only that, what are you doing with the proceeds other than
That's the key part.
other than flexing and flaunting? What have you actually done with the proceeds? Because
Yep.
I can't knock somebody, because the way this system is set up is that certain people are going to live and die in poverty. The system is
Right.
designed for that. There is a percentage of the population that will be their reality unless they do something to change it. So I can't really be mad at somebody who wants to, play the system. But if you're playing the system and you're not doing it purposefully, I can't
Right.
respect you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what is the
because
purpose
if you
of
do
playing
go
the
out
system?
and you're a successful D-boy and you don't buy no real estate, you just invest all your money in chains and cars and clothes, and you don't buy any real estate, or you don't put any funds in your kids' names and IRAs or something like that in your children's names, college funds and all that in your children's name, and then somewhere out of the line, oh shit, now I'm cracked. All the dope's gone, all the money's gone. Now my family can't survive without me. There's no hope for the future for my kids. Ain't no college funds in place. Ain't nothing in place. All I had was these chains and these cars to show for what I did.
That's the lost mindset, though, that brings that about. You know what I mean? I think it still comes back to the mindset that leads people to the incarceration that we was talking about. Because if you have no self-identity, how are you ever going to be somebody of any real substance? And how are you going to have a self-identity when your whole life you were surrounded by people who lacked one themselves? And those people lack the self-identity because the system that has been put in place to, feed our minds to bullshit has directed us away from the importance of a self-identity. You see what I mean? And I think that's the starting point. So when we talked about having a language, all that type of shit gives a person some sort of identity to say, hey, well, hold on, I come from something, and the shit that I come from won't allow this, won't stand for this.
So if we was to try to do that as a people, where do we fit in amongst the like, let's just say, okay, Swahili, a lot of brothers is into Swahili and teaching each other Swahili and learning that that dialogue, you know what I'm saying? So how do we know where we would be accepted amongst the African culture? Like because it was so many tribes, how do we know that we're actually, as African Americans, we're a mix of 1,000 tribes? You get what I'm saying? So,
well, I don't think people can go and research from whence they came. And
well,
if
some of it you can, because you
study a
look
culture that intrigues you. If a certain culture intrigues you, then you can still learn that language. Like if I wanted to, I could learn Spanish. I know I would use it in my job. I know that it would help further me in my career. So it's definitely something I could do. I don't have to be Mexican or to learn Spanish. I could still utilize that, having that. But what I was sitting here and I was thinking, I was like, dang, if each of us individually was in a room full of, let's just say, some gangbangers or drug dealers. We had 100 people and we were in the room with it, and we had the floor. What would be a key? You know how they say these are the keys. I'm gonna give you some keys, some gems. What would you drop to as knowledge on them? What would you have to say, even if it was just one thing? What would you say?
If I knew I had an audience,
you got 100 people. You got 100 people in the room. What are you gonna say to them?
I think now I would say no other motherfucker is important enough for you to harm or kill and go sit in a cell for the rest of your natural life or 30, 40 years behind. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like backwards. Like, that's like an obsession with a motherfucker. This motherfucker is so important to me. That's why they say before you set out on a trek for revenge, dig 2 graves, one for them and one for you, because that's how destructive it is to do something like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So I appeal to you to think about trying to not necessarily start a nonprofit for the youth, but maybe go to do a speech at a school or go to a group home with some kids who are, who could go either way. They might do the right thing. They might not do the right thing. We have to put ourselves out there on the front lines. And if you're speaking from the angle of experience, because you've been there, what it did to you. So you have an opportunity to share some of that knowledge and pour into somebody, pour some information into somebody. If you really truly believe that this is a disgusting thing to watch, be part of the change. And like I said, if you go into a room with 100 people
from the other side, you get what I'm saying? It's being in there. And that's what really had its toll on me, is seeing that it was no change in sight in that motherfucker.
Right. But now that you're out, you can be the change that you expect to see, is what I'm saying. Just like me. If I want to talk to people about being a teenage mother and how hard it was and different, then I can help young women.
That, yeah.
I can help young women. So I'm just saying that to say, like, if, maybe we should carry that with us as we go into our day-to-day lives of what we individually can do to help communicate some of these things to the people. Instead of waiting to see the rest we keep waiting, as the song say, waiting on the world to change. Well, we'll be waiting forever if we don't do something ourselves.
I want to go back to something that you had said, Dees, where you were talking about it, learning different dialects or whatever, and how do we know where we will be accepted? I think the way I answer that question is, for me, what does it say in the Bible, that my people suffer for a lack of knowledge? You know what I mean? And I think that the Bible is something that has religious meaning, but it also has hidden meaning, esoteric meaning. So when we think about knowledge being power, you understand what I'm saying? When we incorporate knowledge into our life, that helps to build our self-identity and understand the foundation that we stand on. And when you get to that point, you don't give a fuck if somebody's gonna accept you. You're too busy trying to figure out whether or not you accept them. And I think that's one of the qualities that Black folks are missing. We're looking for acceptance.
Not necessarily. That's not necessarily how I mean it. I just mean, how would I know if these are even the people I came from?
Well, no, because they're probably not. They're probably not.
Yeah.
And the reason why we know that is because, like I said before, that whole little DNA shit, whether it's African ancestry or family tree, whatever the shit is called, any one of them, all that shit is a farce. It's bullshit. And the reason why I say this, and I said this before, is because the number one indicator that is bullshit is because you can come from every single solitary ethnic background in the world, and they'll be able to pinpoint that you are a part of this ethnicity, and it's going to take you all the way back to the origins, the place of origin of that particular ethnicity.
Right.
Except for when it comes to the Native Americans. It doesn't take you back to the land from which they came across the Bering Strait. It'll just tell you you're Native American. That's key number one. Number two, if you're any sort of Black, the only part of Africa you ever came from is sub-Saharan. You're the shit below the Sahara. And guess what exists above the Sahara? Egypt, Morocco, all those places of extreme grandeur. It's all a part of the scheme to make you think you ain't shit.
Right.
It's a lie. You know what I mean?
That's what I meant. So I got an idea though for our next couple of shows or whatever. So we could kind of implement the language thing on our own. I know a few Swahili words, and we can kind of have a word of the day, go with every podcast.
I'm with it. I'm with it. Yeah, so we can do a weekly check-in on the lingo. I'm with it.
Yeah, we can.
Because
that's what I was about to say.
Right,
I was going to say that. I was going to say Maisha Akiba or Kasabi.
Mm-hmm. Are y'all seeing that, or is that just on my end?
No,
there it is. There.
Okay.
No, it froze for a second.
Yeah, it glitched.
Because you niggas looked unbothered the last time it happened. I was like, does nobody else see this?
Well, that's the thing. If you look unbothered, it doesn't look as bad. It's like you got to just pause with it,
right. Yeah.
I want to encourage again. I'm going to repeat myself. I want to encourage everybody on the podcast, all of the hosts, to get out in the community. That's a personal challenge that I'm giving to
here too, though.
Huh?
This is a form of community as well, though.
This is definitely a form of community, but I'm actually being of service out because how does it go? Each one teach one, or
right?
So I
that's
think
what we're missing right there. That each one teach one.
I think that we should, instead of continue, because this forum is great, but actively go out. I mean, even if where you're from is not really where you're from, there's still somewhere along the lines, some way we can reach somebody where we're actually doing.
Terrified of my people.
Right. No, and rightfully so. And rightfully so. I'm not saying
if I don't have the right shoes. Hey, look, if I don't have the right shoes on when I go to deliver my message, I don't know.
Right. And if you do have the right shoes on, they may take them. I mean,
if I do have the right shoes on, now I'm a lick.
Right. There's risk in everything, but But because each of us are in 4 different locations, there's 4 different locations where we can talk to somebody, where we can, and I think that networking is the most underrated thing that people are not doing enough of. Network, go rub paws, and don't necessarily start in the hood. You know what I mean? There are some areas where there's a prominence where our people are at as well. And
Well,
maybe, if we start
The cool
stirring
part
up
about
conversations.
when me and bro link up, I want to start doing some educational skits myself. And I know he's definitely down for that because we've been kind of doing that shit all our life anyway.
Right.
Right.
So,
We'll just be putting a little educational twist on it. But that's something that ain't even new to us. Yeah.
The crazy shit we used to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
well,
I think we have all gotten a little bit off of our task, but we all were born with gifts that have to be shared. And, you guys doing those kind of skits and stuff, like you said, it's something that was in our household. It's something that we did. Me talking, that's something that I did.
I was like
so
9 years old.
We have to use those things that we have had from the beginning. Those were our gifts. Those were our, let those be our purpose and our passion. Let's not move so far away from it. Let's get back to our inner child.
That's what they say.
Life gets so serious, you forget who you are sometimes. Like it takes you out of it takes away that childhood innocence and that free, carefree spirit that created the will to do some of those things as you were young,
Right.
Just like they
connect with your inner child.
If a little kid he's tearing up all kinds of stuff and he wants to see how it clinkers
that's reverse engineering. That's called reverse engineering.
Yes. Let him do the shit. Go buy him some shit that he can take apart,
Right?
He's basically reverse engineering shit because even though he might not make it work again, he's damn sure gonna know how it works after he breaks it.
So I want to challenge us all too, since it was brought up and it was mentioned. I don't want us to I don't want time to pass and the whole Swahili thing be something that we just talked about. I think we need all
look up one word. We'll just start with simple. Everybody at least look up one word.
I'm saying like to the point of even looking up some sort of application you could use to learn the shit.
Right.
So that we can actually have
the easiest
even
part
if it's only minimal, we can be able to communicate with each other, even if it's something as simple as good morning or I love you.
Good morning is Najima Asabui is good morning and Najima Asuku is good night.
Okay. Oh, well, I think that's a good place to start. I love the challenge.
Ndugu is brother.
Yeah.
And I know a little bit just from being locked up because we spoke that shit in there. But,
well, then maybe that's our show next week.
But that's how I learned it though, because we had standard good night, like where a dude would yell out his door and say everybody's name, and then we'd say Najima Asaku or Najima Asabu, you know what I'm saying? And so that's how everybody was able to learn those simple greetings, you know what I'm saying? So stick to like the greetings, good day, good lunch, or lunch, and learn how to say lunch.
We'll build on it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll learn how to say breakfast, lunch, dinner, brother, sister. Kiwe is crib, obviously. Damu is blood. That's how you would say blood.
Ukweli is truth. Yeah, because I know that one. Yeah.
And what's how do you we know the name for the cops, the police. What was it? I don't know, but I can't remember that one right offhand. But I'm pretty sure if I tested my mind, it's in there.
Kasabi, one who laughs and talks a lot.
Yep. Kasabi Laini is one who laughs and talks a lot.
No, Kasabi is one who laughs and talks a lot. Laini is sweet.
Oh,
I never heard that.
Well, I don't give a damn about y'all knowing the meaning of your names.
Yeah. Fuck
Nah,
your name. Fuck your name.
I'm jealous.
See how y'all hating already?
So you
I
don't
think
know the
Javon's
meaning
name
of your
means
name?
fierce.
No,
or
that's
strong,
him.
That's me.
king or
That's
Mine
something.
means
That's him. Fearless leader.
yeah. The Jabbar means fearless, and Jamil I think means leader or something like that.
Yeah.
So that they putting them together was fearless leader or the fearless one.
I tried looking it up before, but
But they changed my name to unisex, so now it's given as a royal, like a name of royalty to females.
see, that's what I was just about to get at. When I looked up my first name, it had a feminine connotation to it, and so I was
Right.
like, clearly this ain't what Mama and Pops was on. So I don't know how to trust this. You know what I mean?
Well, it obviously changed because we remember seeing books where it said this, and
Right.
then here we look it up 20 years later, and another book says that.
Yeah.
We literally seen the meanings of our names change in literature. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah, I get some people who is named Kasabi, and every time they hit me up, it's a man.
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
I've only ran across 2 people with the name Tavon, and one of them is his middle name. And here's the crazy part: another one of them is actually a distant relative on Pop's side of the family. He got a different last name, but the
It's
first
spelled
name
just
is the
like
same.
yours.
No, it's spelled slightly different, but
So
nonetheless.
on Guardians of the Galaxy, they pronounced it and spelled it exactly like you did.
Exactly. Yeah, I was blown away. I was like,
Yeah,
man, that's
they
me
said
right there.
the Tavon group.
I knew I was an out of this world motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
I was like, damn, they said it and it's spelled just
And
like
it
this.
spelled the same. Yeah, that was crazy. My mind was blown when I seen that. Yeah.
Key takeaways from today's show.
Be true to yourself.
We can't keep having these long breaks. That's one takeaway because we've lost our. We were on track in our communication methods at one point, so to speak, as a group. I feel like we're not as rehearsed as we was because it's not as normal as it was before.
Mm-hmm.
You know
It took several shows
so
to
even if we're just doing, check it out. Even if we're just going in there next time instead of a Four Corners Legacy call, we'll just go in here and do a fake StreamYard podcast. You get what I'm saying? Just to keep us polished up and used to communicate. Now
Right, because we have, in order to communicate to the masses, we have to be able to communicate amongst each other.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be able to talk and listen. That's what.
That's why
communication is.
That's why I had said once before that.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop you because
That's just
that's
so
exactly
No,
what
but if I don't say what I have to say at the time, I won't remember it.
Talking about you can't interject on somebody like that.
But you guys can remember what you was about to say. I couldn't, maybe not. But that's why I said before, if we have those pre-shows and then you and Tavon are the talkers, you never let somebody get what they're gonna say in edgewise, and then they forget anyway. If we have key points that we want to make sure we have are said, then we'll have a more productive show.
And as I was saying,
remember what you was going to say.
Communication. As I was saying,
shit.
Communication is when someone talks and someone listens. That's what makes it communication, because it can only be understood if someone talks and someone listens, someone responds. It's not communication when people are talking over each other. Where's the understanding going to come from? Where are our viewers? Where is our message?
Viewers,
if it never gets
it's always me, the one that's getting.
For viewers, it's very hard to understand.
I pull up many shows where you all were saying talking over each other, but it's always me being.
No. The whole point was in her trying to address that. The way you responded to it was to talk over her. Nobody's saying it's always you. And like I said before, your feelings is your responsibility. They're not fit to get catered to.
Ain't nobody said for you to cater to shit.
Okay. Well, moving on.
Shit.
And, nigga, show your face when you talk shit.
Right.
I said shit.
Don't be hiding.
Hide it, divide it. Everybody has said happy Father's Day.
We're still on the show.
Happy Father's Day.
Appreciate it. Happy Father's Day.
Right on, man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if y'all seen the clips that got posted that me and Mai posted to TikTok and Instagram, but I think that was one of the reoccurring themes when I was trying to figure out which ones to use. There were some that it could have been good if there wasn't the muffledness of what was being said because we were over talking each other. So it's not a personal thing. It's just that,
No, because we all do it from time to time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all I was saying. It ain't nobody pointing out nobody.
I'm not saying you was pointing out, but you guys always do try to point it out on me.
No,
but I'm not gonna trip. I still love all three of you the same. I'll whoop your ass if I have to. But now it's not always me.
Each other from time to time because that's just a natural human emotion. When you're interacting, sometimes you want to jump in like that. You get what I'm saying? Or when somebody's talking, it may appear that they're finished saying what they're saying, but they're actually not.
But I'm gonna say this though: if you look at other shows where people are talking like how we are talking, people jump in and talk over and say while somebody's saying something, they say something too, and then that person
spliced the way it's spliced. Now, say for instance, each like say like here's what, like if I said I wanted to record my broadcast, my audio and video from my broadcast individually. So even though it would show me interrupting you on a live broadcast, back in editing the broadcast, it could still be split apart and shown where there is no interruptions.
Not on this platform because we're not all in the same place. That's the only way you could have that ability. But because we're all,
I thought you could do it to where
there's no way to separate the sound because we're all on the same audio.
No, I think
right. And so here's my thing too. I wanted to add this. It is normal to have, both have a good thought or, to have that overlapping. But once the realization of the overlapping takes place, somebody has to stop. There has to be a person who's.
We're not even fit to do all that. We can do all that offline.
I know, I'm just trying to show you.
Point.
It's been a great show today.
The whole point is that's something we need to work on. That's something we need to work on.
Fuck it.
No, you guys talk over it again, and it's like it doesn't make sense.
It says cloud recording under cloud. It says record a separate audio file for each participant, or record locally. It says high quality individual audio and video recordings for each guest.
Okay, I know that, but we also know that I damn sure ain't got the time to be sitting up trying to pick out the key points of a 2-hour show, and probably nobody else does either. So that's why I asked if y'all look at the clips that were posted. Well, we can just do it the easy way instead of trying to go in and actually watch a 2-hour show and spend 2 hours watching the show and then another 3 hours formulating the clips. Or we can do it the easy way that we gave a demonstration of, which the only problem with it is that there was muffled information when people were over talking each other. To me, it's an easier fix to just wait your goddamn turn.
Right. And so the thing is, I would just want you guys to actually see the clips that he's talking about so that you'll know what it is that we're trying to get up, the point that we're trying to get across.
Okay, Coach Carter and Principal Willis.
This doesn't constitute over talking.
Let my people go.
Oh shit.
All right.
So
These don't be sitting up looking like that at me.
It makes me not want to even do the podcast. I swear to God. That's how it makes me feel. My first response is fuck it.
Did you look at the clips that we posted?
I just, like I said, this shit make me want to be donezo.
Oh God.
I mean,
Okay. Here
I'm
we
not
go.
a
Let's not do it
control
on air. Can we
Yeah,
bring the
yeah.
show to a close?
That's why I said we can talk about it offline, but
Thank you.
I guess that makes me the boss when I said that. You know? And if
Okay,
that's how
Coach.
somebody feels, they can go talk to that nigga in the
Yeah,
mirror.
Principal Coach Carter.
Yeah.
That was just a joke, but take it how you want it. You know, just whatever. I'm letting it roll off my shoulders.
Well. One
Well,
thing.
when you get some free time, check the clips out. Thank you, everybody, for the show today. It's been wonderful.
We'll catch y'all on the next go round. Love you and appreciate you tapping in.